point is, one and the same set of symbols. One and the same set of symbols can have, at least in this story, two meanings. That means this book, which is a collection of symbols, can have and does have multiple meanings. Well, that's obvious. The next question that probably will occur to you is, how do you know which would be a correct meaning or a true meaning, or to the point, which would be the most plausible meaning? So for this one, I'll give you another story. Now, for this story, humor me, please. The women present, could you think like a man just for a moment? It's a classical story. That's why I need to ask you to do this. And I'll tell you more about it later. But what I want or need from you now is an immediate response. As soon as you hear and I finish telling you this little story, then respond as you believe a man would respond. Men, of course, don't have to pretend, just do it. So you, the man, and your mother and father and wife and child are caught in a raging fire. You can save yourself and one other person. Whom will you save? So, child and wife, is that about what I heard? Okay, child and wife. I didn't hear anything else then. Am I fair? I'm just listening to what I heard. You said mother, one said mother, okay. Now, those who said child, why did you say child? Anybody? That's the future, okay. Now, I was teaching at Pacific Lutheran University in Tacoma, Washington, and it was an undergraduate class, and as soon as I finished, the first person who shouted out the answer said, "My mother!" And everybody in class laughed. And yes, this was humorous, except the boy was from the United Arab Emirates. He was not Christian, and not only that, that was the wrong answer for him. Because this story was told by St. Thomas Aquinas in the Summa Theologica. And Thomas Aquinas says, in this case, you must save father first, mother second, wife third, and child last. That's Thomas Aquinas' answer. So the boy from United Arab Emirates would be almost in agreement with Thomas Aquinas. None of us would we? Okay, but we're focusing, please help me to focus on Mediterranean culture. I appreciate and respect your heart and your feelings, but we are interested in culture and cultural differences. That's our focus. So there are no wrong answers to this question. All answers are correct. But the answers will tell you more about your cultural values than anything else. And that's what we're focusing on. I mean, this probably will come to a shock to you, but Jesus is not American. If he begins to look like that to you, something's wrong. If you think you can understand Jesus, but have difficulty understanding Saddam Hussein, Yasser Arafat, and Muammar Gaddafi, I would be quite surprised, since they all come from the same part of the world. In that part of the world, culture has not changed for 4,000 years. The values are the same. So let's return to our story. Why did the boy from the United Arab Emirates in my class say, mother? Well, if you know anything at all about Mediterranean culture, the closest emotional bond is mother and son. Mother and eldest son is the closest emotional bond in the Middle East. What is the weakest emotional bond? Husband and wife. Husband and wife. The reason is marriages are arranged, and the ideal marriage partner, even from the patriarchs, is father's brother's daughter. To you, who is your father's brother's daughter? Right. I have, not with me, but the genealogy of Saddam Hussein, his whole family chart. They're all cousin marriages. All cousin marriages. And throughout the Middle East, these are all cousin marriages, patrilateral cousin marriages. So what the second story tells us is, how do you find the most plausible interpretation? It will come from culture. And since no American contributed to the writing of this book, it would be mysterious indeed, miraculous, to find American values in it and to find our lives reflected in it. As the American Catholic bishops told us in 1987, we are not to seek in this book, quote, all the direct answers for living, end quote, because they're not here. American Catholic Bishop's statement on fundamentalism. We are not to seek in the Bible, quote, all the direct answers for living, end quote, because they're not here. So that leads us to the second point, or at least conclusion from the second point is, the answers or the plausible interpretation to the biblical interpretations will be from Mediterranean culture, not from American culture. So we have to then try to understand and to come to learn Mediterranean culture. Now, if you've lived in other cultures, this will be easy for you or easier, but if you haven't, it may be very difficult, and in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if you found it distasteful, especially after you see the videos I brought, 3 of them. By that time, it'll be time for me to leave, which will be fine.